Banditos, the devs in the first Descendant just delivered a Q&A, and so I have updated the roadmap with all the juicy details. We're gonna run through this and discuss some of the great things coming, not just in this season, but in Season 2, and some of the reveals for Season 3. We're talking new monsters, a rebalance of characters and ultimate weapons, 2 new Descendants plus ultimate Descendants, harder difficulty for special ops, and wait for it, dyeable base skins for Descendants and Ultimates. Highly requested item. Let's get into this.
Tux makes it exciting!
So what I did is scour the Q&A and pulled out all of the features that they mentioned and the details on when they would be released, and I plugged those into the timeline. And this is what all of that information in the Q&A looks like when it's slotted in where it's supposed to be. So real quick, anything that is highlighted in that plum purple color was mentioned by the devs, but they weren't exactly clear on when it would be implemented, and so I've earmarked it for those locations, but it's subject to change. And as we find out more, I'll be moving things around, of course, and keeping you updated.
So we have everything from October 1st through 31st summed up there. And then on the very right, we have those things mentioned coming down for Season 3. Centered, we have the remaining of Season 1, and wow, so much mentioned to look forward to in Season 2. So we're gonna be spending a little bit of time there. This is the sit rep. The special ops update dramatically improved XP farming for weapons and Descendants, and that Q&A revealed rebalancing updates, new content types, and lots of changes expected in Season 2, which is just weeks away. The community reception on recent updates remains positive, with concerns around overpowered Descendants and the need for more content variety and difficulty. We're gonna be addressing that. On November 6th, we got hotfix 1.17 and Frena's encrypted vault shop buying ends. There was no other details revealed for this hotfix, but I'm sure they're going to be more, and what I'm really hoping for is that we see another round of ultimate weapon updates. We might receive a hotfix on November 13th, but I don't have any details on that. But on November 20th, I do have details that the current daily and weekly reward system will come to an end. What happens after that? Probably another one. But the devs also mentioned in the patch notes that special rounds and expanded customization that they're working diligently on, and I've placed it here as my best guess on when we are to receive it. So let's take a look at what they had to say. So player suggestion number 5, make it easier to get ammo supplies, especially for special rounds. Dev's response, we are exploring ways to increase the utilization of special rounds and will implement improvements as soon as possible. So I have taken that to be prior to Season 2. In regards to the customization, player's suggestion number 1, currently customization options for characters are limited. We'd like to see more options for appearance elements. E.g., we hope to have a wider selection of hairstyles such as long, short hair, and unique styles, as well as more options for overall customization. And their response, we know that players have a strong desire for customization. Our internal data shows particularly high demand for appearance options like hairstyles. So we've decided to expand our art team's capacity to produce more of them. We'll also continue to review and steadily introduce a wider range of customization options. So the keywords there were steadily introduce, and so that has me thinking they're gonna start to do that as soon as possible going into Season 2, and then continue, of course, beyond. But expanding art team's capacity is great, so they're investing in their future. Love to see that. And the other thing I really like to see here is the words our internal data shows. So they're working off of not just player requests, but they're making data-driven decisions. Love to see that. So going forward, I do expect to see weekly hotfixes from the devs, but I don't expect major game changes because I think we're gonna see all of those on December 5th with the launch of Season 2. I think that's where the devs are focusing right now, is that major patch. And boy, oh boy, do we have a lot to talk about here. So with Season 2, we're gonna see mega dungeons, a utility companion, a new Colossus. We're gonna see rebalancing all around, much to talk about there. We're talking about Descendants and ultimate weapons. We're gonna see a target reward system. We'll talk about that in more detail. 2 new Descendants and new ultimates. So those are the major updates. Along with that, we're gonna see new bosses, enhanced mods coming for noobs, Enso and Glay farm buffs, new monster types for dungeons, up difficulty options for spec ops and intercept battles, rebalancing ultimate weapons, dyeable default appearances. Oh, that's gonna make you guys happy. Debundled skins, that'll make me happy. We're gonna see mobility improvements, outpost updates, attribute bonuses, new event rewards. I'm talking about the types, and that's gonna include skins, reactor rotation optimization. So the targeted loot that we're covering every Tuesday, they're enhancing that. I figure they're gonna make it rotate faster. And then new reactor tiers. All right, let's start at the top because I know that's a lot. So here, a player suggestion was just flat out better Descendants and weapon balance. So the dev's response to that was, so far we've focused on reworking specific Descendants like Freyna and Essimo and Jaber, and weapons in each patch, like the Albion Cavalry LMG. For Season 2, we're planning an overall rebalance to allow players to choose from a broader range of weapons and Descendants. Now, I love to hear that. I do, because I think the game actually needs it. And I wish it started out a little better balanced, because this is always dangerous territory. It is. Because I hate saying the words nerfs and buffs, but rebalancing is just a nice way of saying a bunch of nerfs and buffs. But when you go into dungeons or when you go into special ops and you could just stand there while one Freyna does all of the work, then yes, something needs to change in the game. Because truly, whether we like to admit it or not, the game is leaking players because of that. Because they want to play. They don't want the game to be played for them by one of their allies. They also want to participate. On the other hand, those that are looking to participate in these missions just to simply level up one of their Descendants or their weapons are leaving when they don't see a Freyna or a Bunny, because they do want it on easy mode. Another major release coming with Season 2 is the target reward system. Well, what is that? Well, the devs tell us. Let's get into it. So the low reward drop feels more difficult than they should. Please improve farming difficulty. To address drop rate concerns in Season 2, we're introducing the target reward system. Now, they mentioned this a while back. While certain items have a 20% drop rate, some players might obtain their item on the first try, while others may not get it even after 10 attempts. Our analysis of server-wide logs shows that overall drop rates align with the intended 20%, but individual player experiences often do not converge to this, leading to variability. The target reward system aims to address this by allowing players to select a mission and earn guaranteed rewards after a set number of attempts. So it's a pity system. Additionally, we plan to offer enhanced shape stabilizers as limited time event rewards, which increase the chances of obtaining rare items when opening amorphous materials. That sounds really cool. I've never played a game that's had a pity system, so I feel that we are being spoiled here a little bit, and I like it. So the devs bring up that we're gonna get 2 new Descendants and new Ultimates. The player asks, we'd like to see new characters and abilities added, as the current roster lacks diversity. We are exploring ways to introduce more new characters, and as a result, we will introduce 2 new Descendants, 1 male and 1 female, in Season 2. New Ultimate Descendants will also be added. We'll continue our efforts to bring more diverse and innovative Descendants. They say 1 new Ultimate Descendant. Should we get more than 1 in a single season? I think so. Some were speculating that the new Ultimate is going to be Sharon. I think I'd like to see that. She's pretty fun and tactical. I really enjoy using her, but I'd like to see her open up to be even better outside of Outposts. Now I'm looking down below on Season 2. One of the things that was mentioned is that we're gonna see new bosses. This was mentioned in several different ways. Let's go over each of them. One of the questions was more boss patterns, improved invincible patterns, and or hidden mechanics. The devs say that so far we've been implementing patches to replace some boss patterns with new ones. New bosses will be added to the content in Season 2, and we're preparing to introduce new monster types to the fields in Season 3. So that's great, it really is. So new monster types. When they say to the fields, that means to the map. We will work to diversify boss patterns while ensuring they align with the hack and slash and run and gun styles. It's also mentioned back here as well. So adding characters that enable more diverse combat styles, especially characters specializing in ranged attacks. support abilities, and co-op play. We hope to see more unique characters and complex skill mechanics or specialized combat styles. They say, we are working on adding more characters with diverse abilities to offer a broader gameplay experience. However, we believe that this also requires more varied content. Yes, it does. Yes, it does. This is where they need to focus a lot of their attention on. Everything, we need a lot of things, but we need a variety of content. It's the end game loop to this game is the most important thing to its longevity. The Descendants will come. The weapons will come, the content will come, the new bosses, and I want it to come sooner than later too, because we need to keep up the momentum. If the content doesn't expand, if we're always spending time in the Fortress Special Ops and these 400% infiltrations and the bosses are or get really easy, then what is there to do once you farm everything out, which takes not as long as you think it does. So currently the content is divided into two main types: intercept battles, which involve defeating large bosses, and exterminations, which focus on defeating many monsters. And I like both of these types of fights. As a result, characters optimized for these two content types are highlighted. We think it's necessary to diversify the type of content to allow for a more wider range of character choices. They're basically discussing here the Bunny issue and the Freyna issue. So they're saying that Bunny and Freyna are killing it here, which is why we're not seeing a diverse set of Descendants, because players tend to gravitate to the most efficient route to completing the objective. And Freyna and Bunny are those routes to a lot of the types of activities that we're doing. So their way of handling that, because they can't just directly nerf those Descendants, especially when people pay for them. You don't want to pay for something to see it nerfed. So they have to find smarter ways to adapt the content to the levels of proficiency that the Descendants have. So they think it's necessary to diversify the types of content to allow for a wider range of character choices. At the same time, we are carefully testing new content. It's huge. We are carefully testing new content to avoid creating an environment where new characters feel required as choices for this content. Sort of like a Sharon situation where you need her in order to do the Outposts to get those patterns. As soon as the new content is ready, we'll seek player feedback through the focus test group and then release more dev notes. Big deal. Lots discussed there between the lines, but yeah, again, the Bunny, the Freyna issue, it has to be addressed, whether we like it or not. The bosses' attack patterns and combat style and are somewhat monotonous. We hope to seek void intercept bosses with more complex patterns. So this isn't really about new monsters, but it relates. So we're striving to balance adding complexity to patterns to increase difficulty while ensuring they remain intuitive for players. We believe the Deathstalker update aligned well with this goal. And I agree with that too. I really enjoyed the Deathstalker fight. I still enjoy it. It felt hard at first. It got easier. Going forward, we'll continue updating intercept battles by adding new patterns, ensuring they are both intuitive and strategically fair. Now remember, for you hardcore players, they did say that we're gonna get higher difficulty Colossus intercept battles that you can opt in for. So if you feel like these get too easy, and I do too, because once you master them, they get easy, and you're looking for a challenge, they're gonna allow you to step it up. So they talked about enhanced mods for noobs. I'm not gonna go into the comment there, so I'm just gonna give you the gist of it. But basically, for new players, they're gonna start giving them mods that are already leveled up during their progression journey. And that's gonna relieve some pressure on the Kuiper farming as well, and help them start and not feel so behind from the rest of the player base as they enter the game. I think that's important, because there can be a wide gap between the experienced player base and those coming in, and that gap just continues to get wider as they continue to add new content. So by giving them basically components for a really good starter build will be nice. And they're also going to be basically nerfing the difficulty for Enzo and Glay, or buffing the farm for it. So Enzo and Glay will be easier to get, which will help Descendants get into those Colossus fights or farm other Descendants. So Enzo especially is an essential tool for starting this game. New monster types are also going to be coming to dungeons. Let's talk about that. So this came up in this player suggestion. So currently, dungeons are repetitive and lack new challenges and enemy types. We need dungeons that are more challenging and require strategic thinking, as there is a current lack of content to challenge core players. They say the dungeons in Season 2 will feature new types of monsters. We also recognize the need for more challenging endgame content, so we're preparing a range of endgame experiences for Season 2. Oh, that's big. This includes adding higher difficulty special operations and intercept battles, as well as content that gradually increases in difficulty to challenge the toughest stages. We are hoping to continue to expand the range of endgame experiences. God, that sounds so awesome. I'm really looking forward to that. Higher difficulty special ops and intercept battles. And the community also mentioned that they'd like to see large monsters. So currently there are only small, normal, and medium monsters in regular gameplay. And we'd like to see vulgus mobs with weak points that can be targeted. And the devs say, we'll take the idea of large vulgus mobs that have weak points into consideration and discuss them with the relevant departments. And I believe this was seen in the beta and some of the gameplay footage. We recognize the perception of a lack of large monsters in missions and dungeons, and are also mindful of level design constraints. To address this, we plan to create new fields that provide a field combat experience with a mix of large monsters. Whoa, that's a big deal. We plan to create new fields that will cater to this. That's promising. When? When, devs? Well, hopefully in Season 2. Maybe Season 3? And so, yeah, I think that one's going to be out there. I'd be surprised if we saw that in Season 2. So I earmarked it for Season 3 until we know more. So yeah, I think that's going to handle a lot of challenges that we're experiencing with endgame content. And the up difficulty options for special ops and intercept battles will too. Those that have already matured to the current state of the endgame are finding it challenging to find a challenge. So the devs mentioned in many places that we're going to see a rebalance of ultimate weapons as well. So let's go through those. The game desperately needs that. Here they say, and here the player's suggestion was remove unreasonable penalties for content, weapons, modules, inversions, etc. So this is going to touch in on the weapons, but it says we've received considerable feedback regarding penalties on invasions, inversion reinforcement, and similar areas. So if you don't know what they're talking about, like a lot of people don't even notice this, but when you're entering those infiltrations, it'll say something like, you know, minus 15% skill damage to chill or something like that. So it says currently we are not considering penalties when designing new content. That's good because yeah, I don't like that. Instead, we aim to provide attribute bonuses to encourage a wider variety of character use. So instead of saying negative chill, it'll say positive chill, and maybe you go in there using Biesa or Haley. And then moving forward, we plan to balance content to avoid imposing penalties on participation. Yeah, penalties in game. I mean, don't punish your players. Don't give them modifiers that penalize the players, please. We will also review the penalties on ultimate weapons to make them usable without penalties even at base levels. So we're talking about the Secret Garden that gives a cost to your MP. Yeah, that's not going to be there anymore, ensuring a more enjoyable experience. We plan to retain the positive negative effect for modules, as it offers an option to maximize positive effects when configuring characters or builds where certain stats aren't needed. So that's like the more amplified, chill damage at the cost of crit chance. That's what they're talking about. Alongside the positive negative effect, we'll also introduce positive effect modules, providing players with even more customization options. Holy crap, so much there to appreciate. And here it's addressed a little bit more directly. So it says, there's a lack of incentive to obtain ultimate weapons, and they currently lack uniqueness. We'd like to see more polished and unique ultimate weapons. Yeah, who doesn't want that? We would like new firearms to diversify options and a rework to make the existing firearms feel more distinctive. And they have been doing this. I am completely impressed with the Albion Cavalry, and I'm working my way through the other new balances as well. So it says we plan to rebalance ultimate weapons in Season 2 to give players a broader choice based on their preferences. Additionally, we'll continue to add ultimate weapons with interesting stats and effects to make them more worthwhile to collect. Yeah, I hope you've been stacking up on your weapon XP bonuses. You're gonna need those. Here's a big one. Are you ready for this? You're now gonna be able to dye your default appearances. I think this was brought up on day one. So it says here, allows to dye default character experiences. So we've listened to your requests, and with the start of Season 2, both Descendant and Ultimate Descendant default appearances will be dyeable. Right on. We apologize for the delay in implementing this highly requested feature. Additionally, as noted in previous updated notes, dedicated spawns and back attachments will become shared items starting in Season 2. And since we're talking about skins, let's go through the rest because there's a lot here about it. The limited selection of skins makes it hard to customize as desired. Release more skins with both casual and unique themes. They say, that's right, our data shows that skins with a wide variety of themes are very popular. In response, we're expanding our team to create skins with more themes and in greater quantities. We would appreciate your patience as we work on this. So I think this is going to be like a Season 2 and then going forward. And then it says here, make character skins in the Battle Pass and skins for the firearms that players frequently use more appealing. We received a lot of feedback about the Battle Pass during the preseason and Season 1. In Season 2, we plan to look into adding Descendant skins and popular firearm skins. Right on. And this one's for me. We just want to buy skins without bundled packages. It feels excessive. The prices for skins, enhancement materials are too high. Look at that. They're addressing their price points here. We've listened to your feedback, and the team and business units have agreed to sell all cosmetic items, skins, spawns, back attachments, chest attachments, etc. separately. This policy will go into effect with the start of Season 2. We're also reviewing enhancement materials to make them more efficient when purchasing. Now, they didn't say directly that they were lowering prices, but at least debundling will break that down a little bit more. But hopefully the individual skins will be a little bit more reasonable than they are now. I would buy more if they were just a little bit cheaper. Are there any plans to sell retired skins again? Or are they truly off the market? Like Bunny's Ultimate skin, right? Many players have requested the sale of retired skins. While we are carefully considering changes to the store display for regular sales, we decided, in coordination with the dev team and our business team, to change our policy for upcoming skins to be available for regular sale except for certain seasonal event skins. For former skins, we plan to add previously retired Ultimate Descendant skins, that's the bunny one, as individual items. As for other skins, we are carefully reviewing our options. Good enough for me. We'd like to see special rewards like character skins. We're always carefully considering event structure and rewards. As previously mentioned, we're planning to introduce new event features, and along with growth items, materials, and currency rewards, we're exploring other options, including character skins, to enhance motivation and satisfaction. Ideally, these skins will align with the season's theme, and we're looking into ways for players to earn them simply through event participation and gameplay. Wow, there you have it, skins galore. Okay, on to Season 2 and that plum purple section. Now, but based on the intel they provided, I have earmarked it for Season 2. So let's get into mobility discussions. So improved grappling hooks, cooldown reduction, out of combat cooldown reduction, etc. So yeah, the cooldown thing on grappling hooks really annoys me. It really does. So we believe the purpose of grappling hook improvements is to enhance character mobility. All characters should be able to move with Bunny for a better co-op experience. Currently, Bunny often arrives first and ends the event before other characters can catch up. To address this, we are currently improving the grappling hook or introducing new default mobility skills or improvement items in the medium to long term. We are looking to improve co-op play so that players can run and fight together. This is a really interesting comment and probably going to spark a little bit of a debate. So one of Bunny's things that makes her unique is the fact that she's faster and she runs off electricity. So it's not just speed, but that's a core component for sure. So if all the Descendants can keep up with Bunny, does that diminish her unique contribution to the game? I would say no. And hear me out, but she can run faster easier. I mean, Volby almost gets there. Volby is almost as fast. She can seriously keep up. And Freyna isn't too far behind either, and as well as Viessa. But for the rest of the Descendants, I mean, they're way back there. So if we gave them grappling hook capabilities to help them keep up, that doesn't necessarily mean their skills are active while they're grappling to try to keep up with Bunny, while Bunny's skills are active. So she can do damage while maintaining that speed. Same with Viessa, same with Freyna, and same with Volby. But Enzo, he wouldn't really be able to do that. Either would Lepic.
and some of the other Descendants. So even if they had a grappling hook, they're going to be doing a lot of work just to keep up, but at least they can keep up. But yeah, it's going to be a full-time job where Bunny is just casually cruising through with her Nikes. So I don't see the problem with giving Descendants better grappling capabilities all around, even Bunny, so that they have a chance to keep up with her and join the fight so she doesn't wipe everybody out before they even get there, which is like 5 minutes later. The system definitely isn't working now. It doesn't make sense that if you're not running Bunny, you are now playing a jogging simulator game because all the enemies are dead and all you're doing is running down corridors. Now, what about those outposts? Are you getting bored of doing those? Well, the devs have an answer. Improve the structure of amorphous outpost farming methods. And they agree that the farming and opening methods for amorphous materials in outpost fragments and fusion reactors needs improvements. Our team has been exploring a variety of ways to enhance outposts, such as implementing a system where players are rewarded after a minute of continuous combat. However, we're approaching this carefully as it may put Sharon players who have less monster killing power at a disadvantage. We recognize that the current outpost route is less engaging compared to the infiltration route, and we are firmly committed to making improvements. We will thoroughly review all options to ensure positive changes for everyone and actively consider the ideas players share with us. Yeah, it's an interesting one. I think one argument is, well, I don't want it to turn into another mob mode. We have those. We have infiltrations and we have a special ops. So we don't just need more of that. It would sort of dilute the content. But at the same time, we're just standing here, even if it's only for a minute and the fight only takes 10 seconds. I mean, what are we doing? You know, and what a waste of time. And then when the RNG doesn't deliver, then it just feels like horrible. I'd totally rather be doing something else. And so I like that Sharon can infiltrate these, but I want to see a good fight come along with it, whatever that means. I don't know. The devs need to come up with the good fight part, but a 10-second fight, 1 minute waiting, no, that's not it. So with the reactor implant system, we've seen some major changes to the quality of life around farming reactors, but there's still a lot more work to be done to make these elements more key to our build. The players suggest that we would like to add crafting of rare reactors for better build variety. And then the devs respond, reactor implant system in the 1.16 update has made weapon optimization easier. We have noticed the feedback about the consumable material and costs for the implant. We will review the data and if needed, increase ways to earn more materials. Our direction for reactor improvements includes optimizing the rotation system to simplify farming for ultimate reactors and creating an environment for more interesting builds by introducing new reactor tiers in the future. Can we see a transcendent reactor coming down the line? Is that what that means? That would be badass. Otherwise, we're going to see an optimization in the rotation. So currently the targeted loot for reactors resets weekly, and that sucks because if what you're looking for doesn't land this week or in the zone that's good to farm, you have to wait an entire week, and that just really slows down your progression, especially if you're not working on multiple builds. And it can be really painful to farm a zone that's not good for farming. Can you believe we're starting to talk about Season 3? Yeah, so during the Q&A, the devs revealed a few things that are going to land in that season. We're going to see new monsters and new fields, a glaze story, new content types. That's a big wow right there. New fields, large monsters inside these fields, and a surplus mats vendor of some sorts. They wanted to address the issue where certain materials really start to stack up like in the millions, and they want to give us something to do with those. And so they're thinking about creating something like an ETA 0 vendor, but for material. They didn't give us any hard details, but they are looking for a route. A lot of great things to look forward to with this game. I think it's got legs. The devs continue to do a great job at listening and responding to the players, and I couldn't ask for more out of any game. All right, let me know what you guys think, if there's anything that you felt like they didn't hit, or what are your favorite updates coming in these future patches? Thank you for hanging out with me. My name is Tuxedo Bandido. That's Tito Bandido.
One and only.
And this was another episode of The First Descendant. If you found this video helpful, subscribe, like, and turn on notifications to ensure you don't miss out on the fantastic experiences waiting for you in The First Descendant. And if you like videos like this, check out the one I have recommended for you right here. If you have anything you want to see covered, be sure to let me know in the comments below. And thank you to all the channel members and donors who make everything possible. Tux Nation wouldn't be without you.
When you buy or download anything for The First Descendant, be sure to use Tux's creator code to support the channel. Easy peasy.
Follow me.